you're handsome, and I like them handsome and stupid.
In a world desperate to tear itself apart, only one man, and some other people, stand in the way of total destruction. Together they will right the wrongs, make bad, good, and single-handedly destroy evil, together. Who is this man, you may ask? This man is Geoff.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Geoff Jones and Friends Make It Better, the show that takes one of life's little annoyances, gives him a microphone, a guest and a podcast, and the ego to believe that he can quite simply make everything better. On this very special anniversary week episode, I am absolutely delighted to welcome back returning guest, Miss Jess L'Whor. Jessica, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I'm really excited that you invited me back. How are you doing?
Oh, well, it's one of my favorite episodes. So of course you're going to be first on the contact list. I'm not too bad. I'm okay. Still here. Still putting the world to rights one brick at a time.
One brick.
One brick. That's it. Each week, one brick at a time. You are not alone though this time.
I am not alone. Joining us on the call are two of my good Judys, my drag sisters, all the way from Hollywood, California, or Los Angeles, California. Miss Tiffany Vogue is online. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, that's me.
And then I also have my other good Judy joining me here from Denver, Colorado, Miss Lala Queen. Hi, Lala.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much. I am very, very excited by this. I had so much fun when we met up last time, and I thought the only way that we could make it better is by having more. Let's make it bigger. This is going out on the anniversary week. I've got a couple of bits this week, which hopefully everyone's going to be listening to. We've got some comedians coming on. Actually got some friends from outside of the podcasting world that I've known for 20 odd years. Keep threatening to have either my youngest son or my wife on, both of which will neither of them will have nice things to say about me. So and giving my 9-year-old reason to make dad better is something I'm now regretting. But for this episode for tonight, we're going to talk drag to start with, talk about the industry, like the good, the bad, the ugly, the best, we've heard from Jessica before. So Tiffany, Lala Queen, please, give me, I don't know, a look into your world.
Yeah, well, Lala, if you want to go first, I know that you are also from Denver, so I bet you'll be able to touch a little bit more on some of the topics that perhaps Jessica's already mentioned in the last one.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So I am from Denver, Colorado. I've been performing in Denver for about 12 years now. So I've seen quite a bit of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in-between there. I think, honestly, we've seen a huge growth in drag, which is incredible. We're seeing so many more venues and spaces that are opening up to us. But obviously with that comes problems or maybe more so roadblocks. Things like, making sure queer people are paid right, making sure queer people are given the right spaces for dressing rooms, for comfortable environments, air conditioning. Right now, we're in the middle of the hottest summer ever, and we've got drag queens performing in bars that aren't well air conditioned. So it's come a long way, but we've got a long way to go for sure.
Do you think there is this feeling from venues, potentially, not all, that it's a case of it's a growing scene, but maybe you should be thankful that you have a place to perform because of the type of entertainment it is?
It's kind of a yes and. There's got to be a lot of spaces that provide us the safe space, but I think that they weigh too much on that with the idea of the mentality of you're replaceable is really what the issue comes down to. The idea of if you don't like it, you're replaceable, but we're not asking for much. We're kind of asking for the bare minimum is kind of what I think Lala was touching on.
Yeah.
I think that with a lot of saturation, I mean, obviously there's a lot more drag entertainers now than there were 10, 12 years ago. So I think, like Jessica said, I think there tends to be that idea a lot that we can be replaced and things like that, that we, if we won't work for X amount of dollars, some other girl will. And I think we've lost kind of a mutual respect for entertainers like that. I think we've really done a lot and rode really hard for our bars and our businesses for a long time. And I think there should be a mutual respect there.
Absolutely. And I think that that is definitely prevalent in Los Angeles as well, especially being the entertainment capital of the world. There are so many actors and singers and artists who have struggled to make it within their own field. And drag is something that had sort of a renaissance over the last few decades. And so if they are struggling to get into performing full time in other fields, drag, especially with the large queer community here in LA, tends to be another way that you are actually able to live out your dream and perform for a living. But the thing is that with actors, there's a union. So they're able to have some type of accountability with the way that they are paid and the way that they are treated. Whereas the drag queens here are being offered really, really low paying work with terrible, terrible accommodations. And there's nothing that they can really do about it because anybody else is going to be willing to step in and do that just for the exposure. So I definitely, when people ask about starting drag or doing drag, I do not give Los Angeles drag scenes high praise. If you want to make money doing drag, I would recommend that you go to literally any other city. I've done shows in many different cities in the US, and the crowds are fuller because LA has everything and more that you can do here for entertainment. When you're going to another city in like Des Moines or Denver, there's limited possibilities for you to go out and have fun and socialize, but LA has it all. So it is much harder to make a living doing drag full time, in my experience, in Los Angeles.
I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, because where I live, like I say, it's quite sleepy, and we had one, I suppose, one queer bar which had a drag night, and it was one of the most fun nights I've ever had. But even that eventually stopped because I don't know the lack of interest or the loss of interest, or I don't know, whatever it was. So LA, you've also got on the one that it is just everything. It's just this big old melting pot of anyone who and everyone to I don't know, looking for fame, fortune, or making a living with their talent. But is a part of it, is a part of the problem the fact that I don't know, drag, there's no, or there's very few really famous drag acts. Like there's no line into mainstream from making money to being famous. Is that the goal? I don't know if actually being famous is the goal, or if it's notoriety, or if it's just doing it for the love and the money of it. But with, as I was saying, acting and music and things like that, there is a higher end threshold, a higher end point. Is that a possibility within kind of the drag community?
I think that that's the second part to it, actually, because as I was saying before, in LA, they're wanting you to do all of this labor and have all this talent for little to no pay. But when they do pay people, they only pay like the Rue girls. They only, you have to be this certain level of have notoriety or fame for them to consider you as valuable at all. And so that takes away from a lot of the other local queer artists who have not had any time in the spotlight on reality TV.
And Rue Girls are RuPaul's Drag Race is what we're referring to. So anybody that's on RuPaul's Drag Race in LA, unfortunately for Tiffany in that scene, is that there's a lot of them in LA, where it's not as common here in Denver. So a lot of them control the scene, a lot of them, and I know I'm speaking on your behalf, but even from my experience, a lot of them are the ones that are booked, they're the ones that fill in, and they can do no wrong in some ways. They don't have to try as hard to get the opportunity to be treated correctly, to get what they want.
Right. So it doesn't kind of disseminate down the treatment, inverted commas, because they've got these acts from from RuPaul and people like that, shows like that. Like, it doesn't disseminate down to try and build up the community. It is just if you're one of these people, it's one level of being recepted and another level for anyone below that, which surely would then make it difficult to build up the rest. Is that a right?
I feel like there's often the idea that RuPaul's Drag Race or some big stage is the end goal, which is not necessarily that for everybody. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of entertainers out there who just do this simply for the reason of being able to spread queer joy amongst their community. And those people are valid, those people are important, those people deserve to be paid just as much as the people who have their sights on the big stages, because they bring just as much joy to the stage as others. So I think like often like we get the questions of, oh, when are you going to audition, or, you know, have you auditioned yet, or anything like that. And a lot of people don't realize that that's not necessarily what anybody has their sights on right now. Drag has always been part of the community first and first, mostly before being on screen, before cashing in the big checks.
Yeah, I mean, because at some point it was obviously, I know there's been, and I'm really sorry if this is the wrong choice of phrase, but things like, with Vegas, with Cabaret, with these kind of big production things, which is always on the stage. There's been those for some time, but actually things like television, which I suppose, as noted earlier, some people see as the goal. That's still fairly recent in a mainstream. I mean, in the UK, we've had Lily Savage and people for decades, but still almost one at a time. Not it never brought an influx of people. It was, oh yes, Lily Savage is fantastic. Unfortunately, passed away, I believe, last year. But it never brought an influx. It was like, well, that's the one show, and everyone loves that because it's good, wholesome entertainment, but it never brought on this influx of more shows. Now with RuPaul and things, I suppose there is more to it, but if you don't have a goal for television, are you stumped then? Or is there a sidestep for bigger productions just on the stage?
Part of that is that we often see drag in areas like obviously I'm from Denver, which is a bigger city. We're talking about LA, which is a bigger city, but there's drag entertainers in small areas. There's drag entertainers in Colorado Springs that doesn't even have necessarily bars to house these entertainers and give them the stage to do these things. So there's also like a matter of access and things that are the pipeline to these successes. We have seen, fortunately, on RuPaul's Drag Race, people come from small areas of Georgia or wherever, who make big names for themselves, but it's not the same case for everybody. There's so many people who live in small areas that are treated even worse than we are here in Denver and LA because, they don't have the resources.
Yeah. And I suppose something like RuPaul is a double-edged sword, because for exposure of the community is fantastic. However, it then brings a certain level of booker expectations and audience expectations. I don't know. It's kind of like yes, it's fantastic that people have got so many eyes are on the community. However, for the day-to-day working drag act, it almost makes it more difficult because of expectation for bookers or more competition, things like that. Is that?
I would say that's not only bookers, but audience members. You can always tell the difference between a drag fan and a drag race fan. If a drag fan is appreciative of the art form, they're going to know their local entertainers. They're going to support their local entertainers. They're also going to love whatever variety style, whatever genre is your shtick for a performance. And then you have drag race fans who expect what they see on the show to be at every single local venue.
Yeah.
And it's such a small little niche that If you don't deliver that, well, then they don't have a desire to support you because you weren't even on the show to begin with.
See, that's crazy to me, because if you've got a 10 or 100 or 1,000 acts who are all doing the same thing to fit a mold for a show, then you're not getting entertainment. You're getting a pipeline of the same thing. Sure, people should want that variety. And I know if I go to a comedy night, for example, and there's going to be 3 comedians, I expect them all to be different. And one I may enjoy more than another. That's fine, but I'm prepared for it.
Well, and that's another thing that the Los Angeles scene is incredibly guilty of is, for example, like the Hamburger Mary's here is very well known for having the same 4 girls on cast every single show, and then those same 4 girls do the same 4 numbers, and just like you said, it's a pipeline, and it's a money-making number. It's a really great number that the audience is receptive to, and you can't really blame them for wanting to continue to make a whole bunch of money and not giving opportunities to anyone else or creating any type of a variety or a diverse scene at that specific venue. But at the same time, it's not healthy to the art form. It's not healthy to the community when that's the type of thing. And it does get repetitive. But the thing is, with this pipeline, it's just a whole bunch of bridal showers of girls who are going to go to this one drag show in their entire lives, and they're just a fan of Drag Race, and they want to see Drag Race live at their local Hamburger Mary's in Los Angeles, and so it gives them everything they ask for.
Yeah.
So
I mean, first of all, I am actually extremely intrigued as to what a Hamburger Mary's is.
oh
Think about it as like a burger bar with glitter, and a lot of queer energy.
It's like Barbie when she's over 40 and owns a diner.
it's like McDonald's, but Ronald McDonald is a cross-dresser.
There you go.
Oh, you have me at glitter. That's wait. I mean, that sounds like a moneymaker for me. What then? Okay, in your opinion, it could be the same, could be different. This show isn't about making massive change, but if you can make some small changes to the situation, to the scene, to bookers, what just thing would you like to see if you could, for a day, switch the roles and be like, right, I'm in charge and I'm going to boom.
I would love to see some investment into production value. I would love to see some Disneyland quality production value. I am a huge fan of the movie The Birdcage with Robin Williams. It's a fantastic film, and to see the production value that's put into their nightly shows and creating this atmosphere and this fabulous environment that anybody would enjoy going to, I think that is something that is severely lacking, specifically in the Los Angeles scene. I think that it would create so many opportunities for backup dancers, for lighting and crew, for sound techs, for servers, because they'd be making a lot of money. And it just needs to be run right, and it needs to be run with the intention of taking care of the entertainers and their needs, taking care of the servers and not overwhelming them, and the experience of the guests. That's why Disneyland was such a huge success, was because everything is meticulous and everything is so well thought out and produced, and held to the budget. If you invest into it and you make it quality, then you're going to make your money back. That's why I love how clean those parks are compared to the poor upkeep and maintenance of like a Six Flags park or any other theme park. And I feel like that's something that's lacking with these drag shows, is that we need to invest into paying the talent so that they can invest into their own wardrobes, because drag queens pay for all of their own makeup, all their own, rehearsals, all their own costumes, all their own hair. It adds up. And then when you're paying them $50 to show up in a $500 look, and with all these girls who are, all these audience members who are demanding that the stage performer looks just like a RuPaul's Drag Race girl, and those girls are spending tens of thousands of dollars just to, parade around on their episode. You can't expect a girl to show up looking like $10,000 with a $50 base pay, and somebody who's getting tipped out, a DJ who's getting tipped out to press play on the music. It's madness. I don't understand why these venues think that this is going to be a good business model.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. End rant.
Tiffany for president.
No, that even as as an outsider, that just makes sense. Just as a business model, let alone anything else, that just makes sense.
If I could see any changes happen, I definitely would love, love, love. I think there's a huge need in our country, specifically, most importantly, for Black, Brown, and Indigenous artists to be uplifted and to be celebrated. Their spaces, our shows. A lot of times we end up, we're talking about change for a day. A lot of times we end up getting only a day. A lot of times we get booked for the Cinco de Mayo events or the Juneteenth events or, whatever is our token day of the year is when we're highly booked, and then the rest of the year it's crickets,
Wow.
And these shows that, Black magic shows, these the bars that have, Hispanic entertainers, Latin entertainers, they're not as celebrated, they're not as attended as, other shows. That's what I'd love to see.
I'm aware of, I don't know, certain stigmas within certain communities, even from me being distant off, but I didn't realize that it would still be so specific. So you've got a niche within a niche. I mean, let's hope with Tiffany becoming president, we'll create more shows, more budget, and more opportunities. It's not just opportunity for drag. That's obviously its own part, but everyone within that community as well.
Yeah, and Lala, you have actually made such a huge impact on your own community by creating your own opportunities despite maybe prejudices or the struggles that you've had surrounding being POC. Could you talk about a little bit more on how you have managed to create your own opportunities and sort of overcome this hurdle?
I mean, obviously, it's not an easy hurdle to get over. I've been doing it for 12 years. A lot of girls don't have that opportunity. I know there's a lot of POC elders in the community that I've looked up to who have also been leaders and showed me the way of how to get into these spaces. But a lot of times it's a lot harder to keep shows. Bars will hold us to a standard, and unfortunately, the audience doesn't support when there is an entirely brown cast. The audience does not support when there is, an entirely anything cast. Like, it's hard to get those shows to have long-term success because they don't have long-term attendance. We've seen that for a long time in the industry. So thankfully, I've been able to find that success in some areas, but it's been a lot of hard work for sure. And the opportunities that you compare for a brown or black queen to any other queen is much different. Like, you can visually see the differences.
First of all, thank you for opening up and speaking, because at the beginning of this, organizing this, I mean, I'm Jessica knows I go into every conversation on this podcast with very little insight because I'm just not very intelligent.
It's okay, you're handsome, and I like them handsome and stupid.
Well, okay, I'm certainly more stupid than I am handsome. But it's great though, because these things need to be highlighted, right? I mean, that first and foremost, just, and I'm going to stay off of my soapbox, but race in general is a conversation these days, which personally upsets me as a 40-year-old white straight guy, right, who has tried to teach his children that everyone is worth something and everyone is accepted. We are a human race, right? And if you don't like someone because they're an arsehole, fair enough. If it's any other reason, then you're the arsehole. And hearing that this kind of sub communities still have even more of a problem, like I am privileged to not have to fight those battles, and hearing that you're trying to make it in or earn money in a drag community, but then also it's that caveat of but also your person of color or X or Y. It's crazy. And hearing that, and so now I have got on a soapbox and I am rambling on now, but I hope that you continue to break barriers and push forwards and the community gets bigger and everything gets wider. And I'm going to stop now, but good luck.
Thank you.
You mentioned your disappointment in marginalized groups still discriminating, which is ironic, you would think, because like we as a marginalized queer community, you would think would have a little bit more empathy and consideration for other people who we deem as different. But I find that in human nature and in society in general, bizarrely enough, marginalized groups tend to like have an extra desire to want to marginalize other people within their marginalized group, as sort of like the same thing where like you're getting bullied at school by another kid and that's because he's getting bullied at home by his parents. So I feel like these bullied marginalized groups, our queer community, gets really cliquey and they can tend to marginalize within our group because they have already had all of this outward tension placed upon them by society at large. And you see that also when you're hearing the trauma coming from homeless queer youth coming from like a Black family background. I've had many POC people tell me, oh no, like I couldn't come out because like I'm from a Black family, and it's even more crazy when you come out in a Black family. And it's that thing again where you're like, well, being from a POC family, like a community, you would think as a marginalized people that they would not be so discriminatory against queer people. But you have that internalized thing where when you've been beaten down so hard, you have that instinctive reaction to want to beat down on someone else, hurt people, as the saying goes. And it's just unfortunate. It is. But that's what is so beautiful about Pride. And people say, oh, we don't need it anymore. We need it more now than ever because it's what unites us. It's a reminder every year for us to come together. Remember, we are all human. We're all equal. We're all the same. And it's much needed.
And that's the soundbite for the episode right there. I'll tell you that.
I told you, Tiffany for president.
I think she needs a lot of advisors if she's going to be president.
Yeah.
Caretaker.
You call them advisors. I call them drink fillers. That's
well, I can be that.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. As we've got a little bit of time left, right? So I would like top to bottom. Me, obviously, you've only seen my head on the video, but let's kick me out. I need a name, attire, and an act for me to become a drag act. Okay.
With a leotard. We're going to go classic Amazon, first time in drag, with ruffles, thigh-high boot, a belt, a random, unnecessary, thick belt to go around the waist that doesn't do anything but just sit there.
It's loose, too. It used to be stretchy, but now it's just loose.
7 pairs of pantyhose, a girdle or two, some duct tape to snatch it back.
Wait, what's the duct tape for?
To make sure it doesn't pop out.
Oh, it. Oh, okay. Do you know what? I didn't even. I was like, what? What doesn't pop out? Right. Okay, I got you.
Your front tail.
The front. Yeah. But what color scheme and boots?
It's all black and red
Oh.
and pleather.
Because it doesn't stain.
Because you want to sweat. You want to be able to pool up the sweat
Yeah.
and wring out your tights like a ShamWow at the end of your
We want
first
you to be
performance.
marinating in your own juices. This really seals in the flavor.
Then we're gonna get you a bra, and we're gonna fill a pantyhose. Back in the day, fill a pantyhose with some rice or some grains or or paper towels, and make you some titties. Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to give me piles for a moment. Like,
There is no worse smell in the world than a boob full of rice after you're sweating. It is so disgusting.
And if you misbehave backstage, Jessica's going to whip out your rice titty and hit you over the head with it.
You're more than welcome to be a bearded beauty, bearded beauty queen, but I feel like we're gonna
Right.
shave your face.
You're welcome.
I will throw it right now. If I shave, then I look like a scrotum. I'm gonna try.
Well, that's great for drag. Most of us look like scrotums
Oh,
anyway.
you guys are gorgeous.
And everybody in the audience loves a good scrotum.
Or two.
It's all about the transformation. It's how you get there. Most of us go from, human faces to wet fetuses to alien to scrotum to drag artist. And goblin if you're Tiffany currently, because she's all green.
She's the goblin queen.
You'll need a wig cap, and we'll duct tape around your head so that we can glue a giant tumbleweed looking wig on your head.
I feel very attacked.
Right. Okay. I have notes. I've got the color scheme. I've got the ruffles. Seven pairs of pantyhose. Rice.
Some Gorilla Glue for your nails so we can glue nails on, and you won't be able to touch anything. That's the beauty. We're going to glue these nails on your fingers, but you won't be able to grab anything. You won't be able to pick up anything. You won't be able to zip anything. You'll essentially walk around with your fingers spread like an amphibian, okay, the entire show, because if you move them, they will just pop off for no reason whatsoever. They'll
That's
just
true.
fall off your fingers.
Yep, and we're going to wrap you up in 6 pairs of tights so that you can't pee for 6 hours. But before we do that, we're going to lodge a catheter up inside your urethra so that you can relieve yourself in between numbers.
Really? Well, hang on. Is this a real thing?
I mean,
Is this a secret? I've just been there.
Everything has been accurate except for the catheter. Everything has been truthful
speak for
except for the catheter.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica just pees herself on stage. She
Okay.
doesn't skips the catheter altogether.
All the greats do it. I'm pretty sure Cher did it once.
We wear poise instead.
Finally, a name? I need a name. I mean, you guys have got such fantastic names. Is there a structure?
Your drag name is supposed to be kind of like, it can be punny, it can be dirty, it can be a reference of who you are, and like what you're about. And so you can go, there's like the stereotypical way is like, what is the name of your first pet that
Teabag.
you ever had?
Yeah, okay.
That you can remember. What's the name of the first pet that you ever had?
Poppy.
Okay, and what's the first street name that you can remember living on?
It was Brookfield Gardens.
Poppy Brookfield, Poppy Gardens.
Poppy Brookfield is so cute.
Poppy Gardens. You're big tittied since you like breasts, so you're big tittied, athletic drinker. She drinks for sport. That is her
Drinks for
sport.
sport.
Her sport is she can drink you under the table.
And she works for drink tickets,
Yeah.
just like the rest of us.
Exposure and drink tickets. That's the only gigs I'm getting.
Only one.
Yep.
But it has to be the lowest shelf drink possible. The stuff that's left over from last year.
Yep. You're just shaving years off your life.
Right. Look, we're because this has been
There you
the
go.
most fun. I can't thank you guys, enough. It's been great getting an insight into kind of the community, the backstage, the problems, but also the celebrations. And it's great. This is one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast, because I get to meet amazing people who tell their stories to some random guy in the anus of England. Like, yeah, that's good. That's all I am. We've got a little bit of time. So if you are okay, I'd like to do a quick thing that I call Better in 30. Okay. And basically I give it a topic, and anyone can make it better in 30 seconds. So you don't have to explain too much about the background, just how you would make this thing better. Make sense? Okay, so the first subject, dining out at a restaurant. Who would like to take this one? Make it better.
Make it better. They pick what I eat. I go to the restaurant and they choose what I eat because I can never pick what I want to eat.
But what if they choose something that you don't like?
Well, good thing I like everything, so it's gonna be perfect.
Fair enough. Okay, so go out.
I'm like a garbage disposal, so I just want someone to pick what I'm eating that day, and I will.
Someone comes over, says, "Good evening, welcome for coming. You're having this tonight."
Yes.
Perfect.
The way I would improve it is I would have them have their most handsome employee join you for your meal. He sits down and gives you some socializing. You get to know each other, maybe fall in love, exchange contact information, lose touch, regain touch, have babies.
At the end of it, there's a movie made about it, and everyone's like, "Yeah, that sounds fantastic." Do you know what? First of all, I love both those ideas of just because I will eat pretty much anything, and apart from celery and cucumber, just never got on with those. So if I walk in a place and they're like, "Here you go, sir, this is your food," I'm happy. Also love the fact that someone just keeps you company, and
and they're just spoon feeding you the whole time.
Oh, so they're also feeding you. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not just gonna sit there. They're still at work. They got to be doing something.
I think the only thing that could make that better is if they just brought the whole restaurant to me. So I never have to leave home and I just eat here. The waiter's here, the food's here, my stuff is here. Never have to leave.
We're basically combining Uber Eats with Grindr now.
But then you have to go to the front door to open the front door. And at least with Grindr, you don't have to open the front door.
Oh my God. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Next topic. Cats.
My favorite cats are the Sphinx cats because they're wrinkly and naked and bald, and they just remind me of ball sacks with claws. So if I could say anything about it, if we remove the wrinkles on the cats, like I've removed the wrinkles on my balls with Botox, and they could just be smooth, hairless creatures, I think that would be really age-defying.
Wait, is that a possibility to remove the wrinkles?
Yeah. Not on cats, on your balls.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we don't know about the cats.
You probably could with the cats, but there'll be some animal group who say these cats are meant to be wrinkly. But there's no ballsack group to say, hey, protect the ballsacks from me. I never knew that was a thing.
Now you know.
The only cats that I like are the ones that sing Memories, All Alone in the Moonlight. Miss Judy Dench did have some wrinkles. She was a wrinkly cat.
Again, could use some Botox.
Get some ballsack Botox. Dame Judy Dench.
Judy
okay,
Dench.
she'll never listen to this, so she'll never hear me say those words. Because I just said out loud the words.
If she does, we will make a public issue apology.
Yeah.
She's gonna come to Denver and find me.
I've had plenty of guests try and get this cancelled, and this is going to be the one, purely for the phrase ballsack. Jane, don't Judy Dench.
They're obviously not living if they need to cancel.
Oh God.
So. If I could change anything about cats to make them better, it would be simply that when they were hungry, they meowed one time and only one time, and not 50 million times, even after you feed them. They only get one meow that says, "Hey, I'm hungry," period. And then that's how you know they're hungry, not constant screaming of like they're being swung from a ceiling fan.
I spend a lot of time at my computer, and my cat is the loudest thing. So I hear from the back door coming in, and she kind of walks like a bulldog. So it's kind of got this big shoulder thing, like attitude, real attitude. Gets up, starts nibbling at my laptop and things. I'm like, well, I'll feed you. But if it's not time to be fed, then just absolute nightmare. I just will not shut up. It's like just leave me alone. Also, currently the damn thing's on catching one bird a day. Like, so for me, I will feed the thing until it's fat and dying of diabetes. I don't care about that, but just stop bringing me birds, because
I feel like the PETA people are going to be very confused about that, because they're going to be like, do we want to save the birds, or do we want the cat to not die of diabetes? There's really no win-all in that situation. They don't know which side to root for.
they're gonna have to choose one, okay, and then take me to court for the other one.
People usually get confused when it comes to drag queens. It's okay. We're used to it.
Because we abuse ourselves.
That's right.
That's the thing. I'll just answer the door in my new persona of Poppy Gardens, and with them with their clipboard, they may turn around and run. Especially if they see me in a leotard, I'll tell you, they're probably actually going to turn around and run.
Sounds a great way to get rid of solicitors. It's the whole reason I cross-dress.
Oh, have you got time to speak about our no, let's not go into that. So okay, last one. Empty refrigerators, and the answer cannot be full refrigerator. It's got to be, how are you about shopping, about getting your refrigerator and your cupboards full, making shopping better? Go.
Well, Tiffany doesn't have to worry about her fridge and cabinets are always overflowing with food.
She's making fun of my poverty.
I am not. I'm serious. You always have it. You're a growing boy. You're a growing boy.
That's because I got that EBT.
My solution right now is to ignore it and to go to Taco Bell more often. Because if I ignore the issue of not having food in my fridge and then I don't think about it, my second solution is to hire someone specifically to read my mind, to know what to buy, and go to the store for me, and go get things to fill up my fridge.
Oh, if only.
I feel like the most important part of that is like, okay, I could go to the grocery store, but who's going to bring the groceries in? Who's going to put them away? And who is going to cook this food? Because I know that I am not. So that's definitely a good thing to just have a person to do it.
You've got back to your last answer of just bringing the restaurant.
That's what delivery's for.
It negates it all. It negates
I guess
it all.
the way that I would improve my empty refrigerator is more square footage for unappreciative house guests.
That is loaded.
Feels a little
I don't know
targeted.
what you're talking about.
Well, when I come and visit, I fully expect a fully stocked larder just to bring the British over. Look, Lala Queen, Tiffany Vogue, Jessica L'Whor, this has been just the absolute most fun. I cannot thank you enough for giving your time. It's been brilliant. Like really, it's been informative. It's been lovely, and thank you for indulging me. I wish you all the very best. I'll bring this to a close by saying, anyone listening, I hope you check out the rest of the specials for this anniversary week. Check out Jessica's previous episode as well on relationship conflict, because that was a lot of fun and meaningful. And actually, I keep talking to people about how to make apps in the hope that we can finally bring that to life. But check out me on Twitter at Better with Geoff, and I'll tell you what, let's do a round robin. Where can we find you all? Give us social media, give us notes, give us anything. We'll start with Tiffany. Go.
All right. Well, people can find me on TikTok. They can find me at the Tiffany Vogue. I have a fantastic atheist Bible story series that I'm doing. That's hilarious. And then I am also on the Instagram at Ms. Tiffany Vogue. I've styled a lot of my own wigs on there and a lot of my own outfits that I've created from scratch on there as well. You can follow either of those. Those are my two main social medias, but you can also find me on farmersonly.com. Mwah!
Well, hang on. What's farmersonly.com?
Oh, it's a crazy USA thing. It's where just Christian conservatives meet up to discuss their Republican issues.
And farming.
It's complete satire. I am being very sarcastic.
Pornography.
Fantastic. Hang on. Should I or should I not search this up?
You can search it
You should
up,
look at it.
but it's not going to be as entertaining as I made it out to be.
Okay, fantastic. Lala Queen, where can we find you?
I am an elderly woman who doesn't use the TikTok, so you can find me at www.lalathedragqueen.com. And my Facebook is there. I'm on Instagram. I have a really cool book list for parents if they want to share queer books with their kids, which is great. So check it out.
Fantastic. And Jessica, remind us again where you are.
I'm a little bit of everywhere on social media, but you can find me on my newest updated site at jessicalwhor.com. That's Jessica LWHOR, no E because I'm illiterate.com.
Do you know what I have to do? I do have to say this. So I was sat down just prepping for this meeting. I know the only bit of this whole thing that's scripted is the introduction because I will mess it up. And so I had written the bit of returning guest, Jessica L'Whor, and thinking that I can just spend some time looking at a laptop. And all of a sudden, over my shoulder, my 9-year-old has said, "What's L'Whor?" Like trying to put on a French accent. I've gone, dude, we're not getting into this. Just carry on. Like, don't worry. What bit is it French? I'm like, I'm not having. Mainly because the other day he asked me what a prostitute was.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Oh, no, sorry, there's no. But I said to him, there's certain words. So if he says things like shit and that, because he's going to pick them up from people, then I can explain to him it's a bad word. It means this, but this is the way that you're saying it, and it's a bad way. There's no good way to say prostitute, right? What am I going to explain to a 9-year-old? Who has no idea?
It's a nice sometimes lady that gives gifts to other people with the skill sets that they have found that they can do with their confidence in their skin and their body.
Now you're gonna make them want to grow up and be a prostitute, Jessica. You can't be too kind about it.
A magical creature.
Hey, as soon as he's old enough, I'm quite happy. But also, you kind of made it sound as kind of intense as like the start of Taken, where he's like, I have a specific set of skills, and he's going to get confused about if it's Liam Neeson's a prostitute or not, which he may be. We don't know, and we support him if he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it's a person who is very friendly, who does adult favors, and you can know about those adult favors when you're an adult.
When you're an adult.
We're getting canceled by Liam Neeson and Judy Dench today.
Judy Dench.
I don't know who you are or where you're at, but I will find you and I will give you adult favors.
And if you Dame Judy Dench, we will make you not look like a ball sack. Okay. On that note, all there is for me to say is thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you to my guests, Lala Queen, Tiffany Vogue, Jessica L'Whor. It's been amazing. It's goodbye for me. It's goodbye from Lala Queen. Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
It's goodbye from Tiffany Vogue.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from Jessica L'Whor. Thank you again.
Hi, thank you so much for having me back.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.